Okay, I get this question a lot about performance versus worship leading. And that's a good thing for us to struggle with and question and examine ourselves on pretty much for the rest of our life. I won't say that there's zero performance involved. I think if you're going to get up and play an instrument and get up in front of people and sing, let's face it, there is an element of performing. I mean, you just can't get up there and be a complete dud, so we don't want to make it sound like performing is all bad. I think so much of it goes back to the posture of your heart, the condition of your heart, and that's such a fine line. And again, so if our goal is to encourage and lead others and encourage worship, a sense of community is what we're after, then let's just know that that's our goal as opposed to performing a song. There's nothing unspiritual about performing, okay? Again, it all goes back to this condition of the heart, and it's one of those things it's better felt than telt. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because it can look the same, it can sound the same, but you just kind of get this sense in your gut that, wow, this person is just like, they're deflecting any kind of attention. They're kind of deflecting that to the Lord. So, okay, so I think it's important that, we, as part of our responsibility, is to cultivate our heart and cultivate the primary skill that we're communicating that heart with. So if you're a guitarist, it's important to practice your guitar and perform well. If you're a singer, to work with vocal resources and be able to sing in tune and that kind of thing. Sing with some emotion. You do want to be conscious of trying to, learn how to communicate and bring up some of that heart and passion and soul and communicate. That to me is a skill that I'm still learning and trying to cultivate. To not just singing words, blah, 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 but trying to think about the meaning and the feeling behind those words and trying to sort of access some of that emotion in my heart and bring that up as I'm singing it. So maybe that's called performance. But at the same time, I'm also very conscious that most of these songs, I'm just singing to God, that God is my audience, that God is, I'm wanting to just express these things to God and sing these things to God. And I'm not wanting to be overconscious of putting on a show for a lot of folks. I think the only thing we need to be aware of is that, that we're not projecting sort of a bummed out kind of thing, but that you're being yourself, that you can try to encourage a smile on your own face, even if you're having a hard day. Try to be conscious of, you want to smile a bit. Oh yeah, especially if it's, sort of an up-tempo thing. Your love is amazing, steady and unchanging. I mean, there are times where I'll like tell myself, like the psalmist would say, bless the Lord, O my soul. He's the lifter of my countenance. He's the lifter of my head. Why so downcast, O my soul? Put your hope in God. So I think about those kinds of scriptures at times where I'll just tell myself, come on, worship the Lord with gladness. You ever heard that scripture? What does that mean? It means as an act of worship, worship Him with gladness. So even if you're kind of bummed out, and it's a fine line. It's not like you're being a phony or a hypocrite, but it's like conjure up a little gratitude in your heart and be glad. And so lift up something glad, if you will. So in your own personality, in your own style. Your love is amazing, steady and unchanging. I'm just conscious that I want to worship the Lord with gladness and make sure, allow my countenance to be lifted up. And so I think those are the kinds of, that's just scratching the surface. But I think this is an ongoing question that we'll address, and I'll try to get some feedback from some other folks that I respect. But a lot of it also going back to if sometime during the week, if you make time to minister to the Lord in the quietness of your own house or the church sanctuary, where you can go out there by yourself or with just a few core people and just get used to singing up to the Lord, singing vertically, singing to the Lord, sing to an audience of one, then all of a sudden on a Sunday morning when you step out in front of 100 people or 1,000 people, you've already been in that same physical place throughout the week ministering to the invisible God. So I think that makes a difference on a Sunday morning, that, you know, you're just doing publicly what's been going on privately throughout the week. And I think it tends to kind of project a sense of authenticity. You know, again, it's better felt than telt. You know, if you can read between the lines, and it's one of those things. I think people pick up on that. That yeah, this. I think he really means it. I think she really means this. She's really singing to God. You know.